having a discussion with Stephen Nyeko, who is the head coach of Namuongo Blazers and also part of the ESCOM committee. And in that discussion, we're discussing the issue of basketball academies and how they are structured. When you look at countries like Egypt, Cote d'Ivoire, their basketball structure is, for you to start up an academy, there is actually a committee that vets that academy. How you're doing it, how you're running it, are you qualified enough? What are you actually teaching the kids that you have, boys and girls? And then what is your continuity program? However, we have so many people that have started up academies in Uganda at the moment, basketball academies, and even in other disciplines. But we don't have a committee or an authority that is policing these academies. And that is why I think we're getting it wrong. We have, when you look at Egypt, the Egypt female girls team is scoring enormous, they're actually slaughtering and embarrassing teams.
Yeah, it's really crazy.
By the first half, the first 2 quarters, they're actually done with the game and they're just running their rotations. Because you've been scoring 140, 120, 130, and the other teams that they've been beating have not even been able to make 20 points. You know? The previous game they scored 164 to 10, no, to 12.
To 12.
Yes.
That was a very big margin.
And then when you go down, they'll go down and their process starts from when these girls are 8 years old. Come to 10 years old, come to 12. Now the best are picked out from this. Here we have a student starting to play basketball at about, when they're in senior 2, that is about 13, 14 years. By the time they can actually grasp a few of the basics, they are in, let's say, senior 3, senior 4. Now, when you put such a student against someone who has been in camp and practicing from the time they were 8, totally, it is a disservice, it is a mismatch, it is a mishap.
Very true. Like you said, there are actually very many academies that are coming up in Uganda now. Mostly in the Kampala area. You know, you have the iHoops and all these other academies, and up to now, FUBA really hasn't put a structure under which these academies should operate. But then again, we find ourselves in a situation whereby you can't really wait for the federation to give you a go-ahead. Yet there is a need that you need to take care of. We have very many kids out there who want to play basketball, because basketball is becoming a big game in the world, a very global sport. So I think the people coming up with these federations realize that you can't wait for FUBA to tell you this is the structure under which you need to operate, because it will delay the whole process. So they started up all these academies. As to what is being taught in these academies, we might never know. Because first of all,
you have to be there to actually know what is happening.
First of all, these academies are not registered. We do not know whether the tutors or the coaches in these academies actually have FIBA certifications to coach these kids. But then again, we also can't take it away from them, because if you see that, let's say in a certain community, the kids are really interested in playing basketball, but there is no one to coach them, and you are a basketballer some time back. So you see the need and decide to take care of it. I don't think we can also blame you in that regard. Just that now, FUBA realizing that all these academies exist, they need to create a certain structure under which the academy should operate, and which age categories should each academy take care of. Like you said with Egypt, and I believe other countries, there's a very good system that they follow. All those academies are
Egypt,
registered.
Chad,
Mali, all those are registered with the federation.
Algeria,
and I believe that each of them has a tutor that is certified by not only their federations but also FIBA. So the federation will trust whoever is there to impart skills, which is what we are missing here. I know that most of our coaches haven't even gone to the FIBA certification, because we have it like maybe twice a year, and there's a very small group of people that are called to take part in that. So we actually need to come up with a structure that is going to help us in the long run. I can't say I like what happened to the Gazelles, but I like the situation it put us in. It exposed the loopholes that are there when it comes to organization of basketball in Uganda?
There was a lot of negative talk from very many fans and so many enthusiasts, so many basketball followers in Uganda about our performances when considering our start. Then the girls actually kept their heads high and were able to get their first win. 2 losses, 2 wins. I believe before we continue to the Junior Silverbacks, unfortunately we weren't able to get into the qualification round.
We got 1 win, I think.
Yes, 1 win, 73-79. You're going to run the viewers, the fans, and everyone who's watching here in Uganda and in the diaspora for the results. The girls were able to make it to the semi-finals, and this evening we will be up against Egypt, the favorites and the hosts. But let's first get through the results.
Well, when we're going through the results for the Silverbacks, we had our first game against Egypt, and that also really didn't go well. That was Egypt.
It was a massacre.
It was a massacre by 100 points.
Mali, then Egypt.
So it was 130-30 for Uganda. Okay, that was by 100 points, worse than actually what happened to the Gazelles. Okay, then we get into a game against Mali. That also didn't go well. You know, we managed to only score 25 points. Mali had 103. Okay, so
against our 25.
It really wasn't any different. Then we played against Algeria. It was 69-30. Okay, still not a good one. Then we went up against Gabon and we got our first win. That was 81-67. You know, which really put some hope back into what we were doing, some momentum. Okay, then getting into the Chad game, we also lost that one, and also lost against Ivory Coast. That was unfortunate because we lost by like 6 points. You know, it was a 73-79, and because we lost that game, we couldn't advance into the semi-finals. And that's where it found us with the Silverbacks.
Yes, because for the Junior Silverbacks, there were their remaining 2 games. If they had won those 2 games, they would have qualified. For the Junior Gazelles, their remaining 2 games, all they needed was 1 win to actually make it to the semis, and they actually got there. But here they are, and they are facing the team that actually scored 100 over them, and a team that has been scoring 100 over other teams.
I think going into that game, it puts us in a good situation because now we know what Egypt can do. Unfortunately, there are no quick fix or miracles that are going to happen to us right now.
Definitely, know? Coach Michael Smith is down there in Cairo along with Mavita Ali, Ronnie Motebi. So the coaching staff is all going to be bundled up. Roger Serunigo.
It's a big group, and I'm really excited to see what we're going to do different. Because for a team that beat us by
100 points,
you know, what are we going to do as a coaching staff, you know, to bring that down for us to get a win? And I'm also interested to, I wish I was there. I actually want to know what the coaches are telling these girls going into that game, because what kind of motivation do you give someone who has lost by like 100 points? What do you tell them going into a game against someone? For example, the David and Goliath story.
So we're definitely into the same situation. I remember us discussing the captain of the Junior Gazelles, Priscilla Nambogo, and her never give back down attitude, and always having that David Goliath thing with her, that it doesn't matter if the other person is big or stronger than you, taller than you, more muscular than you, you can still take them on.
You can take them on, going into that game, I pray they're all going with that kind of attitude, you know, because these are the semi-finals. You only need a win to advance to the next. So you do what you have to do. You don't have to think about any other game. It's only that.
Every game is a final.
It's only those 40 minutes that you need to focus. And surprises come up, you know. I would still say we're going to win this game because, you know, I have to back my Gazelles to win. So let's see what happens when we get into that game later today. Speaking
to Hudson Segamwenge, the General Secretary of the Federation of Uganda Basketball Federation, who is also the head of delegation to the Junior Silverbacks and the Junior Gazelles down in Cairo. And one of the biggest challenges was the negative comments and the negativity that is being poured down to the girls and the boys. And he was telling me that they're trying the best that they can to limit that.
First of all, I think no one should be negative towards the girls and the boys. Okay, these girls and boys, I think, deserve to be on that team. although certain people have, doubts about whether some of them should have actually been on that team, but that is what we could field. Okay, so I don't think anyone should be negative towards the girls and the boys. These are under 16s. Okay, what we should be doing as a people is encouraging them. All right, I like what Coach Brian, the coach of KIU, he actually sent,
Brian Wathum.
Yes, Brian Wathum. He sent a post on Twitter, actually encouraging the under 16 boys and the girls. Telling them that even if we had a rocky start, okay, we can always get better. Which I think happened. We started getting better along the way. So, for those who have negative thoughts, I think they really don't understand the game of basketball. They don't understand competition, and they don't understand what it is to motivate these little ones. If it was the national team, okay, you can be negative all you want because these are grown-ups, but these are kids. This is the future of Ugandan basketball, and tearing them down because of a loss like this really doesn't help us. We should be encouraging them. We should be telling them they can do it, which they are doing it right now. Who knew that would be in the semi-finals after that first loss? So that negativity is really not needed. We need to be positive towards our team.
Yeah, continuing with communication with Hudson Segamwenge, the head of delegation and also FUBA General Secretary. In his remarks and his argument to me were that taking these teams at a late stage without minimal preparation and everything was all because they are looking at the bigger picture. And his explanation was the funds, the stakeholders are coming up to be very harsh on these young boys and girls, not looking at the bigger picture. In his argument, them as a committee, they are looking at the bigger picture. Told me that 2 years down the road, this group of young boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, are going to be a different force when it comes to the region. What take do you have on that particular argument?
Well, first of all, I don't think they were looking at the bigger picture. If you are looking at the bigger picture,
you call that political talk?
That's just being political, actually. If we're looking at the bigger picture, we would have organized a bit earlier for what we're going into. But I mean, cancelling the tournament, then getting back because we got some finances here and there, I don't see that as looking at the bigger picture. Okay. But because we started performing later on, okay, after
growing into the
tournament, after the federation was exposed, for their unpreparedness, okay, now we start to say, okay, let's look for a scapegoat. And what is this scapegoat? We are looking into the future, okay. So I don't think Hudson should tell us that we're looking at the bigger picture. No, okay. I think we're going to start looking at the bigger picture after this tournament. And for those, for the different companies and for the people who came in to give the team finances, okay, they should realize that these are kids, okay, kids who are going to play against other kids who have really been practicing for long, okay. So from their perspective, like if Hudson is saying we're looking at the bigger picture, okay, we should take this as a lesson, first of all.
A very big lesson.
Very big lesson. I remember someone in one of the comments was asking, does Uganda have basketball courts?
The comment
it was that
crazy.
bad.
Yeah.
Okay, so we should take this as a lesson, which lesson should lead us into looking into the future and now the bigger picture. So when they come back, they should sit, have a meeting, and let's start creating this bigger picture that Hudson is talking about. But the time we are going, there was no bigger picture.
There was no bigger picture. No. It is Slam Dunk Basketball. We'll return after this short break and we'll be having a short interview from the captain of the Junior Gazelles.
So far, the tournament has been okay with mixed results. We so far have 2 wins and 3 losses, but thank God we have been able to make it to the next level of the semi-finals, and we know we can push harder and actually go to the finals. The difference between our team and another team is that we have struggled so much to get here. There have been very many stakeholders who came on board to help us to get here, and we don't want their efforts to go to waste, so we are working so hard to the best of our ability to deliver what we can. So far we've